Thank you very much. Hi. I'm Wolfgang from Ruprecht Consult, project manager of this project. And I will come to this later, what Dynaxibility means. So why this project? Mobility should be a human right. And to, let's say, ensure this human right, we need a better connected Europe. So this is what we were working on in this project. And when you move outside of the city center to the outskirts or surroundings, you often find limited access to mobility services. So this is why we worked on multimodal, interconnected or connected green mobility services for this functional urban area concept, which means you have the city center and the surroundings as an integrated concept. And this is to become more independent from car traffic. But let's face the truth, across Europe, car usage is still increasing. And we have to face the problem, which I have now, that there's not a picture, but there's more trans and mobility service coming up, like, for example, shared mobility. We all know the e-scooters, which have appeared in our European cities overnight and sometimes even vanished overnight. We know other measures like regulations for access restrictions for cars in city centers, like urban low emission zones. And all these restrictions and measures are not free of conflicts. In particular, if you have city centers and regional outskirts or surrounding at the table. To put it quite simple, it is either a road diet from a city perspective, or it is one more lane will fix it all from a surrounding perspective. So this is often the dilemma. And then there are new technologies coming up. We all know the situation, we're using an app, maybe going to the next appointment, and we might have to use several apps. So more options, but maybe more confusing. What to take, tram, car, shared vehicles? Do I buy a single pass, a day pass? So trends and solutions are also here to bundle and orchestrate all these solutions into a mobility as a service concept, which means more or less the digital interconnection or connection of mobility services for the region. And we come to the point that these mobility services, they are all very visible and accessible in the city centers, but not in the surrounding. So also here we work with more flexible, on-demand services with smaller vehicles to make this accessibility happen and to create connectivity. And in the far future, maybe even with automated or autonomous vehicles. But what is the acceptance here of these new trends, these solutions? You see here from San Francisco, with a small warning cone, protesters put this self-driving car checkmate, and there are more protests raising. So, what is the impact of all these solutions? And there's still a high uncertainty about what we really create or what problems we really solve with these new trends and solutions. So there might be high rebound effects, and it's not just enough to exchange cars, conventional cars with electric or autonomous cars. So what do we need? We need more Dynaxibility. And Dynaxibility stands actually for a capacity. It is the capacity to manage in a dynamic and flexible environment. And I hope it came across that we are in the mobility area really working in a very dynamic and flexible market. And what we use is a mindset, the hot approach. First human, really the human needs first. Then organizational issues. How can we solve the problem from that perspective? Regulations, etc. And then at last, technology as an enabler. And let me tell you the story from one of our solutions we created in Dynaxibility with Dynaxibility, which is the Flexa service, as an on-demand service from Leipzig. We put humans first, so even the staff, the driving staff was involved, customers were involved. And what we do, a second, is the organization. the really physical link using Flexa as a link between home, door to door, to existing public transport. So not to cannibalize the existing public transport and maybe induce even more car traffic with these new services. And then there's also the digital connection. So we also have here brought Flexa into the regional mobility as a service app. And you can even use Flexa with the new famous German Deutschland-Ticket across Germany. And we started, as many of our projects, with the pandemic. So challenge accepted, Flexa was dynamically reorganized, and they made it a service for the heroes of the time, I would say, for hospital staff, so that they could go to work at these times. And let me finally bother you a little bit with a few facts. Flexa was quite a success. Besides the very high user satisfaction, I would like to point out that we really created a lot of new connections, a lot of new links to existing public transport, and we saved also a lot of CO2 emissions through these services. I said Dynaxibility is a capacity, so we did capacity building, we created guidelines, we created action plans for our cities and regions to work on their Dynaxibility and to implement plans. We created tools like, for example, for a city to assess the automation readiness. Am I ready for these new technologies? And I would really like to thank the Interreg Europe, Central Europe program, because they did this in a call which was called capitalization call. So combining different EU projects and their results to create more impact through synergies. And this literally stands for a better connected Europe. So thank you very much, and maybe the Dynaxibility with you. Thank you.